I'm ready. Yes, I'm ready. I am ready. Happy Sunday, everybody. Raise your hand if you can see and hear me. Who we got here? I'm not mad. Oh, sorry, radios. I hope you're not too mad. Bonnie says almost on time, just 1 minute late. 1 minute late is early for me. Jeffrey is here. Cecil is here. Can we get some service over here? Jeffrey, 2 minutes. Yeah, I know. I'm a little more than 2 minutes late now, I think. Um, Hello, all. Happy Sunday. Greetings, all. Hi, Barry. CJ is here. I deleted all of my saved eBay searches except one, and that's the Canon 1014 XLS. Your cart will be the first I will film, and then I have enough. And that's awesome. We'll get into that little mishap here shortly. Just brewed some iced tea. Here's my iced tea, young man. He has to make the coffee. You know, it's funny. I really am I am always running late for everything, but in most cases, I really am making my coffee. I delete everything so I don't get distracted and buy. Yeah, don't get. I have so much stuff on my eBay watch list. I probably should just do a purge. I'm with you. Trying to keep warm here in the Northeast. Been below freezing all week. Yeah. Somebody's texting me. I got to turn my phone on silent. Ah, okay. This is Travis. You guys know Travis. Celluloid Alchemist. I had texted him before and let him reminded him, but he's at he's in the military and he's at drills right now. So, yeah, cold there, Jeffrey. I know. It's actually cold here, and I'm in Central Florida. Yesterday it got down into the 30s. I know. That's not cold to some people. Went on a Digicam buying spree the other day. The guilt had me sad I had to buy other things to make me happy. I do that. Hello, Stephen. CJ says, there he is. Hi, Mike. Hello, CJ. We can hear and see you. Yes. See how far behind I am? I feel your pain. It was in the mid-50s this morning, Barry. On the train from work just to say hello. Hello, Christian. Hello, people. Abel is here. I made a whole playlist of videos about and made with the 1014 XLS. It's a great camera. I wish Frank was on here. My buddy Frank, Decessory, he's a film nut like us. And he's doing, he did a documentary. He's doing another one too, I believe. All of it he's filming on the 1014 XLS, or most of it. Bonnie got my second Bolex B8 for $25. Is that the H8 to your right? To my left? It is. It is an H8. We got 20 to 30 centimeters of snow here in Sweden a couple of days ago. That's Chilly Willy. Yes. Well, since you mentioned it, Bonnie, there's a couple things I want to talk about first, but this is my B8, not B8, my H8. Yeah. This is my H8. It's a non-reflex, as you can clearly see right there from this little focus finder right on top. This one runs, but it does not transport film properly. I got it at a garage sale quite a while ago, and it must be wound already. Yeah, there's all kinds of issues with it, but I was just going to show it, just sort of showcase it a little bit. The shutter button is stuck for some reason, and it's locked in this position in the back, which I don't understand. Anyway, this is my H8. I'm tempted to send it to, do all camera or somebody to have it serviced, but the problem with that is it's usually just cheaper to get another one. The H8s are not that expensive, especially these non-reflex ones. I mean, for, you know, a couple $100 you can get a new body, or even less, 150 bucks you can get a new body, and I just don't know, the service to get this thing running properly would be probably considerably more than that. So I don't think it's worth it. Let me turn this light on up here and see if that works. I have a light right above my head here that I usually turn on. Kind of help a little bit with lighting and, you know, a little backlight. You see, now I got a little shoulder light. Isn't that nice? I forgot to turn that on. So yeah, that's, I was just going to show, you know, that's my Bolex H8. 1014 this year, Blue in 2025. I have a Blue. I had some R16s in my life, but I've never shot with a Blue camera. I do want to one day, maybe sooner. My H8 can only hold two D mount lenses, then one C mount lens at the top. Huh. No, I think mine are all D mount. Yeah, mine are all D mount. You see how little the mount is. Ooh. I'm going to put this over here. Yeah, I wish that was working, because as we're going to talk about in a little bit, 8mm, I mean, if you got an H8 and you get a 100-foot roll of 8mm and you shoot it at 16 frames per second, you can shoot it for weeks before you run out. Picked up an H8 for 42 bucks. Wow. Hey, Mike, by the way, thank you for popping in. 42 bucks. I will give you $43 for it. Seller thought the crank was broken, but it wasn't extended. Wow. I love those kind of scenarios. That is a very nice score. Sheesh. I'm assuming it's a non-reflex, right? I do have a couple photos I'm going to show that Mike, their Flying O, has sent me. Uh-oh, am I lagging? I'm lagging on my screen. I'm adding things one at a time so I can stay focused. Yeah, that's smart. You guys tell me if it's starting to lag. It doesn't show. It shows that my stream is good. Got one thing done. Add a different save. Just ready to continue until I can afford it. That's smart. Non-reflex, but works great. See, that's... I'm okay with non-reflex. I really am. Yeah, that's fine by me. Good on this end. Okay, good. I don't know. Maybe it's just my computer. I don't know. So I want to talk about some regular 8 stuff today. But before I do, I want to tell you, I have been playing with my scanner, my new Movie Stuff Retro Scan Universal Mark II scanner, the 4K scanner. It's 4K in so much as it's very close to the right height, and it's 4K in so much as a 4x3 frame. So it's not 4K is eluding me the actual frames. Is it 3840 by 2160, something like that for UHD? It's close in frame height, but it's not in frame width. It's the 4x3 frame width, my camera. So anyway, I have been experimenting with it. Definitely a learning curve. There's a lot to try to figure out and understand about it. I have roller guides for it so that I can scan 8mm, Super 8, 16mm, and 35mm film. I don't currently have any 35mm reels, and I'd like to find a 400 footer, because I don't want to have to put the extension kit on the side of the scanner. Or maybe I'll just pick up some of the daylight spools, 100-foot daylight spools. I don't know, but I don't have any right now, so I haven't really been able to experiment with 35mm. I'm excited to try it, but I just got those in the mail a couple days ago. Roger, the owner, had originally forgot to send them with the unit, but he did send them. Remjet's here. Hello! I have things I've been wanting to buy for years, and I think this will finally... This is the year. This is the year, Radios. So I don't know if you guys saw Radio say he's not mad at the beginning of this stream. And he kind of has reason to be. He sent me some film. and I take full responsibility, but he sent me a roll of, I did film for him in the past, and he sent me a vision stock, and I bungled it. And I feel terrible. I've sent him a brand new roll of film, his money back, and I'm going to process whatever he wants. His next roll is on me. I think I used exhausted chemicals, and I know better. I learned my lesson. They either got contaminated or were exhausted, and I feel like I just had them too long. So anyway, I feel terrible. Honest mistake. I own up to it. Hopefully that's good enough, but it's not going to happen again. That's the first. It happened to me about 3 years ago, and that's the first time it's happened since. And I hate that it happened on his film. But I wish it was mine that it did it on, but it's resolved now. I actually used brand new chemicals last night. They came out great. Yeah, I know, CJ. And it won't probably happen again. Anyway, now that I got all that out of the way, with his permission, I want to show a couple of photos that Mike sent me. You guys know him as Flying O. He sent me some really cool pictures. I know, see, so it does happen. I screwed up, but it still hurts. I feel bad. I feel, obviously I feel bad for radios. It was some birthday footage that, oh, nothing I can do. I apologized. I don't know. I'm going to do a roll for him for free, and I sent him a brand new Vision roll, I developed half of my FOMA R100 roll 16mm film. How'd it come out, Bonnie? Hopefully good. So Mike sent me some photos that I'm not showing them all. He sent me a bunch. Can't cry over bungle. That is correct, Stephen. Thank you. Here's a couple of photos. Mike, you guys probably don't know this, and I didn't know to what degree, but Flying O, he has a camera collection that we would all be proud to just bathe in. I didn't realize he had so many cameras. I knew he had cameras. I just didn't realize he had such a collection. So he sent me some photographs, and I asked him if he would mind if I showed some of those. What are you doing buzzing around? And he did not have a problem with that. Yeah, that's okay, Mike. They're organized just fine, and they're going to be in just, I think I got 7 pictures here. They're just randoms that, some of the ones I kind of wanted to show. I had that happen when transferring photos from an SD card to my sister's trip. It was, oh, I know, it's terrible, Jeffrey. It's a very bad feeling. I'll send you the Echrome footage I made with the same camera I took in 2022 with that same camera. Oh yeah, do that, radios. I'll take care of it. Good, only took 3 hours. Oh, awesome. That's awesome, Bonnie. Without the drying part. Yeah, the drying takes a while. All right, so here's a couple of photos of Flying O's, just a small section of his collection. This is the Pressman. You guys know the Pressman. It's a large format camera. Check it out. Check it out. Is that Bush, I believe, right, Mike? We have another picture I was going to show, but Mike, I have your, well, we'll get to that in a minute. So that is the Pressman. Here is a nice, fun pinhole camera. Check out the pinhole camera. I really, really like that camera. That, honestly, of all the ones you sent me, I love cine cameras, but that thing is so awesome looking. How about some miscellaneous 16mm stuff? Woohoo! Look at that. We'd all like to snuggle up with some of that. Here's a big lot of, excuse me, big lot of fun things to toy around in. Yes, yes. Oh, it is a Bush. Okay, that's what I figured, Mike. Look at that toy, the collection of toys. What do you guys see in there? Mike, what's that box in the very back? Back left. Huh, that just would be fun just to roll around in. How about some Cine Kodak action? Ooh. Those cameras to me are just so neat looking. They're really cool looking. That is the special. Let's take a look at a few Bolexes. Whoa. Oh, a case for a projector. Okay, thanks, Mike. Look at that. That's just, I just melt. Those are all reflex, too. Look at them. Beautiful. And you got the little UMIG tucked away in there. And then, how about a couple of Bell & Howells? Look at them just poking through. Pick me, pick me. Some 70 series cameras, and then that one that's the lenses are sticking up. That's a Bell & Howell, but I don't think that's a 70. Mike, what is that? And then, before I show it, I'll wait for Mike to respond. How about the photo with the DJ? Are you okay with that or no? Oh, most are. Okay. I will pop. Yeah, he has a lot of cameras. I'll pop back on. The 240T. Oh, okay. This is real B&H. This is a real B&H collector. Yeah, that's a fun ad. Cecil says, nice. Starting to salivate. Yes, all right. This is a funny picture. It's a fun picture. Think 1982. Here's Flying O in 1982. What is that? 41 years, 42 years ago, with none other than, yeah, I'm Wolfman Jack. The famed DJ Wolfman Jack. Mike's got a story about that. Maybe we'll get him to talk about that one of these days. But what a fun picture. That was really cool. Wolfman Jack. I don't know if anybody will ever replicate that voice. KQAM. So Mike was a DJ, I get, right? I think that's what you said in your email. Yeah, that was pretty awesome, huh, Barry? So that's Mike's partial collection. Mike, I didn't show the shelf full of cameras and you had 50 more. It's just, one of these days when Mike is gone, I'm going to get him to take some cool pictures, some more, put them in wider format and send them to me. Yeah, Mike was a DJ. And we'll just show some collections. I think that's fun. One of these days, yes, one of these days, I watched the Abraham Super 8 film finally last night. Any good? You got it. And your camera is still safely in my hands. I'm going to actually put a 50-foot roll of film in it next, Mike, and the UMIG, and run some tests. It's much easier for me to process 50 feet of 16 millimeter at a time than it is 100 feet. Usually comes out better, too. So I have some 50-foot daylight spools I'm going to use, and I'm going to load your camera up and do some tests with some of that focusing issue I had. Have a photo from right after I developed the 16 millimeter film. A photo of the frames, Bonnie? Mola's here. Hello, my friend. So let's talk about 8mm for a minute. I know there's somebody in this chat that absolutely loves 8mm film. Panorama. There you go, Barry. And that person is, I want you to raise your hand. Only if you know who I'm talking about. Raise your hand, the person in the chat that absolutely loves 8mm film. I know we all do, but there's one in particular that I know loves it. Go ahead and raise your hand. You know who I'm talking about. And while we're waiting, it's sort of the, like the redheaded stepchild of the film community, right? 8mm, regular 8, double 8, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same. Nope. Not yet, Mike. Not you. I know you like it. Well, there's Jeffrey. I know he likes it, but I think he knows who I'm talking about. Mola, you like 16. Yes, you and Christian both are. It's what I learned on. You learned on 8. Yeah, I love 8mm. So, there it is. There it is. He raised his hand. He knew what I was talking about. Cecil. Cecil loves some 8mm. If you guys have never seen his channel, he's full of 8mm, and it's awesome. So this is 8mm, if you're new to it. 8mm is greater than Super 8 cameras. 8mm cameras are so awesome. Yeah, you're right, they are. I was going to get to that. The registration is unmatched. But this is 8mm film. I know it doesn't look like it because, well, this is 8mm film reel, and that's not going to fit. But you know why it doesn't fit? Because it gets split in half. It gets split in half with one of these things. If you're a home developer like me, with one of these or one of these. I used to use this a lot, this little Baya, but I don't know if Steven is still in here, but I think I showed Steven that this started, I don't know if it was like kind of ripping the film or whatnot. These are film slitters. And what they do is they take your 16mm movie film after you're done shooting both sides of it, and you drag it through them. You poke it in one side, it comes out the other side, and you pull it, and it rips it in half. You see, 8mm, double 8, regular 8 is really 16mm film with exactly twice as many perforations. You guys know this. And if you don't, you do now. It has exactly twice as many perforations. So theoretically, you could use this in a 16mm movie camera. They used to sell it. Kodak doesn't sell this anymore. But they used to sell this film in these little spools, just like this. Nowadays, you have to get it at places like the Film Photography Project, and there's a couple other, one-off independent places that have this stuff perforated from 16mm, and you can get all kinds of cool, groovy stocks. But it's getting more and more expensive, like most film. But Kodak, when they sold it in these little reels with 33 feet of film attached to the reel. So they gave you a header and a footer, or a leader and a tail, because when you load your camera in the daylight, it didn't really expose, because these are daylight spools, you were always going to expose the first 2 or 3 feet of film. So they gave you 33 feet, so in theory you got back roughly 50 feet, just like you do now with Super 8. Cecil is the man. He is the 8mm dude. For me, it's 35, 16, standard 8, 9.5. Yeah, I shoot a lot of Super 8, Bonnie. I think just because that's what I used. I've always used Super 8. Bigger equals better for you, Bonnie. What about Bonnie, let's get into 65mm. So many news stories about a man getting shot at a Super 8 last night. What? Oh, a Super 8 motel? That sucks. Mola forgot it, but then it would be IMAX 65. Oh, IMAX first, and then 65. Now you're talking. Do you split your film before you put it in the retro scan or after? I do it, I split it first, Barry. I have scanned it, whole or unsplit. It takes just as long. It takes just as long to split it digitally and reverse it and do all that stuff. I don't really do a lot of 8mm. It's tricky for me. It's easy to process, but it's difficult for me trying to figure out, unless I shot it, which side is the side you shot first. I know that sounds kooky, but it's hard for me to remember or to figure it out. I mean, if I remembered how I pulled it off the spool, most of the time you can figure it out, but it's a pain. So I don't do a lot of regular 8. Have you double 8 and 16mm for me? Double 8, baby. And how are you, Gordon? Cecil, you have a YouTube channel. Yes, he does have a YouTube channel. Look up Cecil DeVille. As you've already wasted it, you might as well show how it's done. Oh, yeah, I know. This has been exposed for years. This has always been sort of my play role, but I can. You want me to pull it through the cutter, I'll show you. Pull at least part of it. Good luck shooting IMAX. The price of double 8 is starting to go up a little bit, Steven. If you get it from FPP, I mean, you can get 100-foot roll. What is it, like $90 now? $80 for color, I think. I don't know how much to black. I've gotten one. I have this. I got from FPP. It's mostly used. I have maybe one 25-foot reel left or load. I cut it, spool it down. Hey, Russell. Just sent a picture. Whoop, I missed it. Somebody just sent a picture. Bonnie says, just sent a picture of my situation of trying to motor on my R16 without owning a Bolio battery. Okay, did you email it? I can look real quick. Russell is here. I'd like to shoot 25 feet and then the other 25 with the camera upside down. Oh, that'd be cool. Then you would have to worry, right? That's a good idea. After splitting, does it have the same perforations as Super 8? It does not, Mola. The frame sizes are different. I want to show you guys something real quick. I did this on a live stream a while back, but I want to show you guys. Take a peek at this. This is a breakdown. I just made this little diagram on Photoshop a while back. That's a 35. It's to scale, and that's a 35 frame. And as you can see, 16, Super 16, Super 8, and you see the 8mm in the sort of olive color in the middle, in the bottom. So 8mm, the actual frame is smaller than Super 8, and it's almost exactly half of a 16mm frame. So while there's 72 frames per foot on Super 8, there's actually 80 frames per foot on 8mm. So the perforations on 8mm are more like little rectangles, whereas the perforations on Super 8 are condensed more. They're more like little squares. And they do not line up at all with Super 8. They're not the same. But they are, this is the same exact perforation as 16mm Cinefilm, except twice as many. So where there would be 16mm is every other perf. If that makes any sense. The movie and hotel chain always clog up. I know, always. I know what you're talking about, Radios. That movie always comes up. Different, yeah, Mike said it right there. Different perps. 8 perps are horizontal. Yep. Sub. Black and white for, oh, for 45 bucks. 100 or for 100 footer. Is that from what? From Loom? Black and white positive from, oh, Lomo. Oh, that's good to know, Mola. I knew they sold film, but I have never bought from them. Film from them. Got to get ready for work. Great stuff, Mike. See you next week. Thank you very much, CJ, for popping in. Have a great day. One roll of FOMA R100 on a 25-foot roll is like 16 euros here in Europe. That's not too bad. 25 feet, so it's a 50-footer. So you could get, if you were careful back in the day, I mean, that's 33 feet of film. I mean, if you were careful and you only exposed maybe a foot and a half on each end, if you loaded it really, really in the dark, so take off, you could have 60 feet of film instead of 30. I mean, instead of 50, like you do in Super 8. 36 euros for 100 feet, that's good. But most 8mm projectors let you switch between, yeah, a lot of them do, Remjet. But what it does is it changes the claw, the perfs, or the you know, the sprocket, whatever you call it. Zoom out, 70mm. Mainly a place to store my film experiment. Yeah. Yeah, see, Cecil doesn't post there all the time, but what he does post, he has a lot of fun with 8mm. It's just a little fun channel. It really is a great channel. I don't know why they had a website. Or you didn't know they had a website. Yeah, they do. Hello, Steven. Dad Hero 43 is here. You sent the picture on email. So Bonnie sent me a picture. Let me... Oh, yep. What do we got? What do we got? So I turned up the screen. So Bonnie sent me a... Oh. Where she is holding the battery in place on her R16. Can you guys see that? I love it. See the duct tape? Duct tape is good for everything. Good job, Bonnie. Whoa, good job. Love it. I'm going to be foaming for now. Fomopan, not Lomo. Okay, I know what you meant. Great idea, shoot second side upside down and then have side by side. Yeah, that would be really cool. That's a great idea. Great idea. I'm surprised it's Mike's. The weather the past 2 weeks is awful. You're happy to get back to work. Yeah, it's been cold here too. So you can shoot 8.8 in a 16mm camera. I heard, yes, you can. I'm telling you, I've done some side-by-side comparisons. Now, okay, you can. I'm saying you can. I've never done it. What I can confirm is the perforations are identical. There's just twice as many on here, on 8. Yeah, okay, like Mike said, I guess it does depend on the camera. Embrace the jank. Just scammed some 8.8 that had gone through the camera twice. Oh, some double exposure. Woohoo! Somehow it worked. Well, that's awesome, Bonnie. So, all right, so check this out. All right, so what you do, there's a little arrow. This is 8.8 film, or regular 8, or 8mm, however you want to call it. It's 16mm wide, as you can see. It's always going to have perforations on both sides because it's single perf once it's split in half. So you have to take one of these. This is made by Lomo here, this one. You have to take some kind of a little splitter. This is just one of the little round splitters made by Lomo. There's an arrow on each side. It tells you which way the film needs to go in. And on this one, my film needs to go this way. So you take your film, and usually, if it's this old stuff, you kind of want to cut a little, I don't know, a little point in it. And then you want to start feeding it in. Now, it can be a little tricky sometimes. You want to force it in there a little bit. Doesn't want to go. Yeah, it started cutting it, I can see, but it's not wanting to go past the first. There's a little lip in it here. Can you get it? Come on now, work with me, Bessie. All right, it doesn't want to, the film is bent up, and I don't have my scissors here with me. But trust me when I say, look, it kind of started, and it's splitting it in half. Can you see the split? So it splits it theoretically exactly 8mm on each side. Let me see if I can bend it a little. No, it's getting gummed up in there. The film, the end of it is just too bent up. It's not one to go through, so you'll have to take my word for it. You will take my word for it. Wish I could shoot 16mm in a 8.8 camera. Yeah, you're not kidding. Wouldn't that be awesome? Talk about cheap. Yeah. So if you got 100-foot roll of 8mm film, I wrote it down, but it's basically 200 feet of film when you're done. And 200 feet of film when you're shooting it at 24 frames per second is a little over 11 minutes. 11 minutes. And if you shoot it, I got a little note here, you get almost 17 minutes if you shoot it at its native 16 frames per second. 17 minutes out of one 100-foot roll. That becomes 200 feet eventually. Now, these always appear to be the same. These are 8mm film reels. These are kind of the ones you used to get from Kodak. And you can still get these when you'd send your film in for processing. They'd send it back either just on a regular reel or in one of these little snap cases. Now with Super 8, pay attention to the center hole. That is Super 8. This is regular 8. See the diff? See the diff? Small hole, big hole. Super 8, regular 8. Out of frame. Now, everything else about them, they are interchangeable. Everything else about them is exactly the same. Both films are 8 millimeters wide, so the spools are exactly the same. It's just the equipment used to transport it is different, and the perforations are different, and the frame size is different. So there's really nothing the same about it. I could have put the film through this slicer. A school close to me was closed last week because all classrooms were like 8 degrees Celsius, so the students had a day off. We don't usually have that problem here in Florida. Starting it is always the toughest. Yeah. I tried to 3D print one. It is, Mike. Getting them going is just never, I don't know. Sometimes it's better just to have one angle cut at the end like that. Look for options to perforate 60mm films. Kind of those splicers could work. It would take forever too, Remjet, right? I mean, if you did it yourself. I mean, I've seen them. Who's that guy in the Ukraine that makes those processors? He has a little machine that perforates, just like a sewing machine. Pretty awesome. A 1999 Nick Cage movie sometimes pops up about 8mm. Always for me. Perforate film for you. Yes, you can shoot double 8 into 60mm. The only problem should be that it's very curled from the small roll. Yeah, it really is tight on that little roll. Super 8 projectors would not run 8. No, they would not. But a lot of projectors did have 8/Super 8. It had a switch that you would flip that would change the sprockets or the gearing. Sweden for $1,000. What did it perforate, Bonnie? I'm just curious. Did it perforate 16 or 8, or what was the machine for? That would be really cool to have. 8mm also came in this. See, this is a spool type, and with the spool type, my sister in Indiana sent me this camera. She found it at a thrift store. And I want to use it. I've never used it yet. It works fine. This is an 8mm, a really old 8mm Bell & Howell 220 wind-up camera. Fun little camera. I mean, this is classic here. This is all 50s right here. But these take the reels. You would unscrew this. And as you can see, like most reel cameras, even in 16, usually there's a take-up spool, an empty one at the bottom. You would load your full reel at the top. You would run that right through here for one complete cycle. You would pull this full roll off the bottom, turn it over, switch these two reels, turn it over, re-spool it, and it would shoot the other half, the other side of your film. And then when you were done, you would pop that reel out that was fully exposed on both edges, send her into the old laboratory, and they would send it back all fresh and ready to project for you. So that's how these started. They started like this with the old reel to reel. You go from top reel to bottom reel and then reverse it. But what they did eventually is they went to stuff like this. This is a Revere 8 3-turret camera that I also don't think I ever shot with. This one runs great as far as I can remember. Single frame. Yeah, runs nice. So what you did with this is we open this way, pop it open, and look at this. Wait a minute. There's nowhere to put the reels. Are you crazy? Well, what do we do then? We put a magazine of 8mm film in there. I did a video on these where you can reload these pretty easily with FPP film. And all you do is you just pop this magazine in, almost like you did Super 8. Boom. shoot it, right? When you shoot all the way through it, you pop it, you flip it over, that's it. You don't lose anything, but there's a downside. They only gave you 25 feet on these. And they did that because you're not wasting any of it. So this was basically a true 50-foot roll. With these, you could get 60 feet out of that if you really, really tried. So this is another one. This is a fun little camera here that I do want to shoot with. I brought this out just for gits and shiggles. Look at that. Still sealed. Tri-X. 8mm. $2.28 from Malone Camera Store Incorporated. Malone Camera Store. I want to shoot this. Old Tri-X usually holds up pretty well, and this is just 72-78. I shoot a lot of old 72-78 in Super 8 and 16mm. These are, like I say, these are very, very reloadable. The only thing that is keeping the lid on this, it's not like the 16mm magazines. The only thing keeping the lid on is this piece of tape on the edge. That's the only thing holding that together. And when you pop it in your camera and close the door down, this little front knob, you see that little knob? You can watch the video, I really get into detail. It turns, and when you turn it, it opens up the gate, both sides. That little, you see how there's a gate on each side? I know it's hard to see in this light. Yeah, maybe you won't. See that gate on each side? Yeah, it's hard to see. It exposes one side at a time. Anyway, that is 8mm magazines. Let's put this away. Oh, you got one last week. 16mm perf machine. Well, that would be really cool. You know what I would use that for? You could buy up all that really cheap, just for fun, experimentation, that really cheap 16mm, what is it? The Recordac film. It's not perforated. In Ukraine, who made a perforated. Yeah, Runjet. That's the one I was talking about. He made it out of a sewing machine. It was awesome. Seen some old film. I've seen 1910 to 20, where the camera would perforate the film. Wow, that's awesome. Almost like a gun ejecting. It would shoot the pieces out of the bottom. Ah, that would be really cool. Now I want one. That's why the carts were made. Yeah, I think you're right. It just was ease of use, radios. It made it so much easier. And I think that's where Super 8 came from. So easy to use. This only was Super 8. You didn't have to flip it. And the registration is even better in these carts still over Super 8, because there is a little gate inside here, or a little pressure plate too, inside the front of this cart when you open the lid, which I'm not going to do. I believe this might be fully exposed found film that we're going to look at one of these years. So the registration was so much better in these old cameras, because in Super 8, and I say that as opposed to most Super 8 cameras, because they had their own gate system. They had their own pressure plate up here. See this example here, opening and closing. It locks the film in there tight. With Super 8, you're relying on the Super 8 cartridge and your camera together to keep that film from fluttering inside the gate, and that's not always possible. It's just way more stable in a camera that has an independent pressure plate like that. I'd love to learn the history of who came up with 8mm. Brilliant idea. Very brilliant. Well, they did it because, I can tell you this, because it cut down a lot for consumer use. Consumers used 16mm for home movies initially in 1923 when 16mm first came out. Then in 1934, they came out with 8mm. And they did it because Kodak is the creator of 8mm, by the way. And it was done to save money for the consumer, for the home movie market. Over 16mm. There is someone on eBay selling a 8.8 camera along with a 400-foot roll of Vision 3 500T. And I feel like I saw that, Bonnie, but I'm not positive. That just doesn't seem to go right together, but I don't know. Gits and Shiggles. There's a lot of Kodachrome in 8.8. There is a ton, way too much. I'm inspired. I just loaded a roll of ISO 400 black and white negative in my trusty P1. I'd like to have a P1. I want to show you guys a couple of other little camera doodads that I have that I enjoy. Where can I put this? Right here. Most work, some don't. That reminds me, my P3 needs a CLA. Funny you mention that, Mr. Radios, as does mine. Ugh. 8mm P3. Stop. It's a hand grip. There's the handle. Let me tell you, there's just absolutely nothing not to love about Bolex 8mm equipment. It's just when I get around it, just get around it. If you know, you know. You know? If you don't, well, then I'm sorry, you don't know. This is a Bolex P3. It's missing the plate, but I have it somewhere. It's not my favorite. I don't like the electric zoom here. I think, is that the zoom? I don't know. I haven't messed with this in a long time. This one needs help. It needs some disassembly, and I don't believe, yeah, it's suffering from no oil. It's one of those deals where you crank it, let her rip, and then it goes do, 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 do. And I know why it's doing that, and I know how to fix that too. I just haven't. But you screw on this handy dandy trusty little whatchamahoozit that we call a handle. Freeze! I'm filming you. Really nice, bright viewfinder. There's not a lot, I'm telling you, there's just not a lot not to love about these cameras. These Bolex 8mm P series and the D series and the B series and the 8Ls. These are for roll film, like we talked about earlier. They hold the 33-foot reels or 25-footers, whatever. Right on top, your feed reel, your take-up reel. Take it out, flip it over, do it again, boom. Get her processed, get her scanned. I'm so glad I brought this out because I really need to CLA this myself. These are not that difficult. I was having a conversation with somebody on Facebook Messenger about CLAing spring wound cameras, and I don't recommend doing it yourself if it's any kind of spring wound camera because it can be very dangerous. But with these Bolex cameras, not the H series cameras, but with these older Bolex cameras, you can get inside here. You can pop this out, and if you're careful, this stuff can be disassembled, and this right here will pop out. Kind of like the Krasnogorsk, you know, kind of like the K3s where you can take the plate out. And it doesn't, you're not going to see the spring, you're not going to be subjected to the spring danger because that's on the opposite side down here. And it's still covered and protected in there. So you can get to the inner workings of this pretty safely and lubricate them and run them and get them back to life again. I did a Bolex video where I shot with a couple other cameras I'm going to show you. And I did just that. I haven't done it to this one yet. But it's coming, hopefully. these take batteries. It takes a battery down here. It takes those big fat old school Mercury batteries, not the wine cell types, not the 1.35. It takes some big fat ones. And I think I have issues with the mechanism in here. So we're going to see what happens with this P3, but I love this camera. I just don't like this big thing on the electric thing on it. All right, where am I at? Where am I at drinking cold coffee? Mm-hmm. There's a lot of... Okay, I got that. I got that. I got that. It's funny. Oh, it's closed. I'm about to CLA my Bolex 8mm cameras, a DL8, a D8LA, C8, B8, etc. That's exciting, Mike. They're fun once you get in there. You just, word of warning, there's a little tiny spring. All right, let me just bring one out. This is my, is this the B8L? This is my B8L. Mike, there is a little spring in here. This little top. I'm sure you're going to pay attention to all that when you do it. I don't know if you can see this little roller right here that goes back and forth. That spring will pop right out and go away on you. I would duct tape it, not duct tape, but painter's tape that whole little assembly up there before you pull it out. I made that mistake once. This is my B8L, pretty sure. Runs great. This camera is probably the best little Bolex that I have. Yeah, the B8L with the 2-lens turret. Zip, zip. Right? What is it not? Oh, it won't work with the handle on. Here's what I don't like about this one. And this one I have CLA'd it myself. So you can see it did just what my P3 did. And when you pull the trigger, it went kick, 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 kick. Now when you pull the trigger, she purrs like a tiger. What?
Don't do that again.
See there? Look at this. That's how you want them to run. Somewhere in that range. That's 24 frames per second. Great, some great little Bolex lenses on them here. Another fine example. Design the Elmo. I love the design of the Elmo C300 cameras. Put your 8mm roller in, detachable magazine. When you go to the end of the roll, you just flip the mag and you keep filming. Yeah, that is a great design.
What do you want, though?
Good to know. Yeah. If you remind me, Mike, there's a really good video. It's a little older and a little primitive, but there's a good video on YouTube that helped me figure out exactly what to do. But when the time comes, shoot me an email and I'll send you that video. The 625 XL is the only Super 8 camera I found in the wild that hasn't died on me. What, Minolta? What camera is that? Beautiful. Say it is a sound to sleep to. So that's my B8L, and I also have the D8L, and it is extremely similar. There's a lot that I like better about it. Let me show you. I'm going to try to show you without this. I love this case. Right there. See there? All its glory. But it's a UMIG one probably. So, unsnap. Fully loaded. 3 prime lenses. One thing I'll show you the difference. And you guys may not know this. Maybe you do. This is the D8L. And let's wind it up. And I think I got it set on 24 frames per second. Let's open it. I hope it works. It actually has film in it. It's old. Does it have film? No, no film. Both of these cameras, neither one of these cameras, I should say, ran when I got them. My wife bought me this one a long time ago. and it didn't work. It did this. Neither one of them worked. You'd crank them up where they were stuck wound, and you pull the trigger or you hit the shutter release and it just barely moved. So I did take them apart, oiled them up real good, and now they both work fantastic. September is a 1920s movie. Hey, Mark. Sept is a 1920s movie camera. Spring drive runs about 20 feet of film. Fascinating little thing. I'm not familiar with that. What camera is... Wait, what is that, Mark? You should try to get Noah from Analog Resurgence on here to something stream with you. I don't know. He doesn't post very often. So, here's one thing I'm not a fan of. I do like this B8L, but look at the handles. And it's just a design. It's the way they were designed. But this handle, the shutter release, you have to pull down like that. There's no ergo at all. It's actually a very weird feeling. It catches on the corner or the side of your finger, as opposed to how most cameras are, where you just pull the trigger and she fires. This one is just weird, but the way the shutter release is set up on this, if you take the handle off, I'll try to do it where you can see it. When you unscrew the handle, there's a little springy thing right here. See there, it springs down. This device here, your shutter release actually, without the handle, pulls down like this. See there? So the only way they could do it was devise a handle that actually pulled down. See how it's got a little hook on the end and it just pulls your shutter release down. Different from this one. In the D8L, your shutter release on the side here is a button right there that pushes in. I'm out of spring, but it pushes in, so it was easier for them to devise a handle. I don't know if you guys will be able to see this, but when you pull the trigger at the top there, I don't know if you can see it, but it just a little lever, a little piece of metal that pushes that button in for you. So much easier to use. So much easier to fasten too. This one, the B8L, you got to kind of try to hook it. So you have to flip this little spring. See this? You flip it up and you got to hook it. Oops, I got them upside. No, then you got it right. You have to hook it on the top of the button there. Ugh. And then it's kind of a pain, to be honest. That's why I don't like taking it off. There. Anyway, I know it's kind of nitpicky, but ergonomics. Run and gun. He's in Canada. Yeah. Noah is in Canada. What is that? Sync locks. That triggers me. It's just funky. You have to pull it down. So you're here and you're, I don't know. This one here, look at this. Push it in. It's natural. It's like any other camera that you would use. I think we're all getting triggered. He was in a podcast last week and said he was open to streaming, plus you are both in the same time zone. Oh, are we in the same time zone, Bonnie? I did not know that. I got the Bolex L8, so small and cute. Yeah, the little L8's little. The Jelco U8 camera has that hook pull down. Yeah, you got the Jelco, that's right. That Bolex is late? Yeah. Thought you meant meeting up. Bolex and a barbecue. It'd be fun to do a meetup, wouldn't it? Like Bolex and a barbecue. There's a trend on YouTube to have YouTubers interview other YouTubers. You know what's funny? I'm not an interview type of guy. I don't like... Call it weird. Go ahead. Call it weird. I can't be in a position where I'm uncomfortable. where you have no control. So if I'm sitting there being interviewed, it's uncomfortable for me. Doing the interview, that's different, but being interviewed, I don't know. It's just not my thing. Going to use that Sony broadcast camera C-mount lens for my Bolex now. What did I see? You guys know the cinematography lab, Ruben. He's got a video that he did. I haven't seen any results, but he has one of those big Sony video camera lenses on a K3, I think it is, something like that. Florida and Toronto. That's east versus west. Not quite the same time zone, but could work. Could work, yeah. But I would love to see how well that lens worked. I think it was it a Bolex or a... He does 16 millimeter. I love his channel. It's called the Cinematography Lab, I believe. Toronto. Oh, is it east? I don't know. I'd be up for it if he wants. So that's my regular 8. I do have this. This doesn't work. I was hoping to get it working, but I tried and tried and tried, and I just can't. And it is battery driven. But this is, and it does have a handle. This is a Nikon, or Nikonex, Nikorex. And it has a handle. It is the funkiest little camera, but it's regular 8 as well, in a magazine. There are a couple of different oh no, this is a real camera. And this one does have film in it. It's probably way past what I could even attempt to get any images out of. But this is a Nikorex Zoom 8 millimeter camera that I got it for $5 at a flea market. I was really hoping to be able to get it running, but I couldn't. I tried and tried and tried. The batteries were completely exploded inside here, and I think it really just got too deep into the electronics, and I can't get it running. So that's where it stands on this, but this is a really neat 8 millimeter, regular 8, reel or roll camera. I'm bad at geography. You're bad. I'm not great at geography. You have a Brownie 8 millimeter camera mic. I do. Yeah, I think I showed it, right? Hold on. It's like mint condition. I forgot about that one. Yeah, did I show this last week? Or not last week, the week before? I got this. This one I paid $20 for at my local flea market. You guys, I showed you guys this. This one I'm really proud of. I would not normally pay $20 for a Brownie. Look at this. It's mint condition. Got the original book and everything in there. The strap. There isn't a scratch on this camera. And it runs, purrs. Look at that. I've never seen one in this good a condition. I don't think they ever used it. Viewfinder, check out the... Bloop. Got different frame lines, safe zones. Listen to it. You guys know. Great little camera. I'm excited about it. I'm glad you mentioned it. I had forgotten about it. Who said that? That was Jeffrey. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. What a great find this was. A little 25 millimeter lens. Let's open it up. Let's take a look in it. I don't know how. Like I say, I've never used it. I think you have to push, slide. Very simple. Super simple. Let's crank it up. Let's watch it purr. I think it only has one filming speed, right? Yeah. Which is probably 16 frames per second. Somebody wrote on the reel, so maybe it was used. Look at that. Like, yeah, that's definitely a sound to go to sleep to. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. So cool. I forgot about this one. So we're gonna delve into this as well at some point. I don't know when. Purdy. What did I miss? My Bell & Howell 311 wind-up Super 8 has a stuck motor too. These old cameras, man, sometimes they're just so hard to keep running. Oh, have you not, Barry? Barry has a camera. He sent me an email about, or a message about this funky camera. It takes a really weird 8mm cartridge that I had never seen before. I know there's two that were relatively popular. One super popular, you guys, the one I showed you, and there was another one that was kind of popular. But then Barry sent me a picture of a camera he got. We found the cartridge, what it looked like, but weird. Keep looking. My Nikon R10 Super was bad, so I returned it. Oh, good. They're so hard. The R10, I had an R10. They're so hard to get running, or to keep them running. Finicky. Kind of like the 1014 XLS. It can be very finicky. He will never stop buying camera. Never. And as crowded as my space is, it's sad. Yes, dear to my heart, my dad taught me filmmaking as an identical one. Oh yeah, I mean, this is what everybody used back then. Kodak brownies. I mean, they were the schnitzel, you know, they really were. f1.9 lens. I mean, that's not super slow. That's pretty good speed. Can you guys hear my chair squeaking? I was thinking an R10 eventually. Yeah, be careful. Just like when I know you're talking about buying a 1014 XLS. Really seek out a good one. I got a package of 14.8 and Super 8 cameras for $33 last week. Some of those cameras was Bolex 8mm cameras and one Brownie 8mm, exact same that you just showed, for $33. Hopefully some of them work. That's a great deal. Why wouldn't it be, Bonnie? You always get the deals. Probably the only Nikon I'll get. I'm Canon loyal. You know, I love Canon when it comes to my Super 8 stuff. I can't imagine not having Canon. It's my favorite. But when it comes to still film, I have a lot of Canons. I don't know if you guys can see. This is a tiny collection. I have about the Canon A1 and AE1 and the AE1 programs. I've probably got at least a dozen of them. But I really only shoot with my Nikon F2. I love Nikon still stuff. I can't say that, I mean, I love shooting Canon as well. You have the same one too, Jeffrey? I love this. I'm afraid to use it. Next check is going to get into film. Yes, Jeffrey! The Fujitsu one. KP8? Oh, what's that, Nisi? And by the way, hello. Fujifilm. KP8. I don't know what that is. Braun Nitzo cameras. Tricky. Very tricky, Jeffrey. I would not recommend them. Very high quality if you can get one serviced or 100% you know it's working. Man, I have 2 or 3 of them. None of them work. Is it really bad, Mola? That's actually the heat, but I know what you're saying, my AC unit. I tried the mic. I tried a USB mic into my laptop, and it just was so hit and miss. It just didn't work right. Gordon says with Kodachrome ASA10, you need your f1.9. You are absolutely right, Gordon. I actually, for my Kodachrome, if it's, well, yeah, if it's 8mm, I would need all of that 1.9. But for Super 8, I got Kodacam. You guys remember Kodacam? Boom! broken meter, wide open. It only shoots wide open, and it's awesome. It's f1.3. So I shoot all my old Kodachrome in this old Chinon 132p XL. Great little camera that I have since deemed Kodacam 40. I made a video on that. I'll be careful. I assume it's probably a lot easier to keep than keeping a early 2000. Yeah, probably. Those errors are insane. I have a bunch of those old Handycams, and they all get errors. Oh, good, Mola. I'm glad. Nah, KP8 is the cartridge only for projection, no cameras. Okay, I wonder if that's what is that what we were looking at, Barry? The KP8. 7 years. We had 15 Nitsos at the university I worked at. Now we have 3 working. Wow. Yeah, they're so finicky. I tried taking mine apart, and a little plastic piece came out, and I have no idea where it went. What do I do with it? I mean, what do I do with it? It's a nice one. It's got I think I showed you guys. It has the big aluminum case with the matte box, and I mean, it's beautiful. Nothing to do. They don't work. You can't use them. Don't forget about the Desar Pola. Yeah, that Polavision was crazy. Me and Travis, the celluloid alchemist, we messed with Polavision 35mm film, but I know what you're talking about. That stuff was weird. Triggered that only 8 have triggered the... What? Only 8 people have snapped the like button? Let's try to get the likes up to at least 10. Come on, people. What do I know? I don't even know where they're at on here when I'm live streaming. Or I'd click it. I don't think I can. Oh boy, guys, we've been going for almost an hour and 20 minutes. That's okay. I was a little late. Get a good working tested one. Yes, radios. Make sure you do. No, it was proprietary. Oh, it was. That's right. Okay. 9 people for me. 9. Let's get 10. 25 people in here. The gears break in the Nitsos pretty quickly too, and there's not much you can do about it unless you really know what to do with them, right? I mean, I'm not a camera repair guy. KP8 is from Miopta. I have a box full of cartridges, all instructions and education. Do you have the projector for it, Nisi? That would be cool to play with. Fun fact, there is a possibility that Ludwig van Beethoven died during the period that Joseph Nisfeld, I don't know how to say, made the... Oh, I remember the first picture. That's crazy. Well, your governor gave up the presidential bid. Yeah, I know. That's okay. I voted on it, but wait, I voted on both. I can't see. The heart's in the way. I voted on both formats, just like regular election. Wait, hold on. I voted on both formats, just like on both formats. 14 likes. Thank you, everybody, for popping that like button. It means a lot to me. It really does. It helps me. Helps me stay minusculely relevant. So guys, look, it has been an hour and almost 20 minutes, so I am going to have to bow out. We have a lot to do on Sundays typically. My oldest daughter just hides in her bedroom while I'm live streaming. I know she's probably dying to come out. It's like she's in her own little prison in there. Liked on phone and oh, thank you, Barry. But yes. Oh, you don't have the projector. Get it, Nisi. Thank you, Mike. Oh, somebody wants to say goodbye. Almost forgot, but what was your favorite? Will you stop, Bonnie? Here's my baby. It was fun. Yes, Mola, I had a blast. Thank you guys, all of you, for popping in. Look, it says Piper, Piper, Piper. Say hi, everybody. My baby girl. We're gonna go. Where are we gonna go? Hey, tell old radios where we're gonna go when we're done here. Where are we going?
We're gonna go to Target.
He works there.
Who works
One of the people in here. He works at Target, but not our Target. All right, love you. Everybody saying hi, Piper. Say bye, everybody.
Bye.
Guys, thank you all so much. I really appreciate it. It means the world to me. Some fun things coming. Some more found stuff. But I will see. I got a lot of cleaning up to do. Then we got to go to the store. Bye, Mike and Piper. Bye, Bonnie. Guys, I will see you, next Sunday. I got nothing happening except for live stream next Sunday. Great time as always. Love my regular people and my new people all the time. Power to the film community. See you guys.